players left. Pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11.109. Now SGA, probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Top of Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunsinger at Thunder Chats. We're part of the B League Network, and this podcast brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Glad I got that right. I keep messing that up. So, just full disclosure, I have the Thunder game up to the right. We are podcasting during the Thunder game, so I don't imagine a very active chat. But hey, if you're here, we appreciate you guys. But there is exciting things in Thunderland going on besides the record, besides chasing greatness, a dynasty, destiny, whatever you want to call it. The draft is playing out and opening up to look like just the rich get richer in the craziest form. So got to bring my guys in to talk about it. So without any further delay, without further ado, let's get into it. Joining us today are friends of the program and staples of the draft coverage on Top of Thunder podcast. They are the conductor and the engineer of the No Ceilings Collective, the chaos behind it all. Dare I say No Ceilings is gone Hollywood, because now they are not just on the NoCeilingsNBA.com. They are not just producing their own podcast. They are on the Locked On Podcast Network. They are on Field of 68. They're on NBA freaking TV. They are everywhere that you look. Anywhere that you see draft covers, these guys are behind it. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us once again, the Tylers, Metcalf, and Rucker.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, gosh, it feels so good to be back. Dylan, I'm going to start calling you whenever I need a hype man. And I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to be like, go. And then I'm going to let you just fly. That's just fantastic. It's better. You just get better, like a fine wine. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having us, man.
You guys make it easy. I mean, you guys have been, I called you a rocket ship like the first year, and like you've exceeded my expectations. You guys are like in light speed right now. It's just like, are you guys going to have a show on ESPN next year? Like, I don't know, probably.
I mean, never say never, but that's the hope as we keep grinding. Just keep pushing it forward. So we love everyone for having us on and for the support. Thank you guys.
Of course. And we know that, despite Metcalf's fandom for the Timberwolves, I know you guys have a soft spot for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And over the years, you guys have coming on the pod, you guys have taught us about Case and Wallace, of course, Chet Holmgren. Jalen Williams was a guy that you guys were championing hardcore. AJ Mitchell, another guy who is blossoming in the Thunder rotation right now. Just kind of big picture thoughts on the guys that we've spent a lot of time talking about over the years. How are you guys feeling about what you're seeing from them this year?
And it's tough to be anything other than over the moon. And you just won the title, and now you look like an all-time team in year two. And you've lost one game, and you're playing 10 guys a night. You're barely playing your starters in the fourth quarter, and that's because of the young depth that they've drafted. And they really do a great job, as we all know, of drafting for culture, not for fit. You draft for upside and long-term fit and production and upside and all that kind of stuff, and then you trade to fill in the holes around. And that's what they've done with Caruso and Hartenstein, while got young guys like Chet, SGA, I know they didn't draft him, but they got him early enough. J-Dub, AJ Mitchell, Kaysen, all these other guys can then develop at the proper speed in the right context, and they're just a machine.
Yeah, I'm with Metcalf on this one. I think this is an absolute dream scenario if you're a fan, probably if you're a player too, on an organization. Like, you just won the title, you've got all this draft capital and an unbelievable draft class coming up, and your team's young and all the big pieces are under contract, and you look like you're about to potentially run it back again and be hopefully starting the looks of maybe a dynasty. So just stay healthy. That's the last hurdle, is just like, just stay healthy.
You don't even put that into the universe. Oh my God.
That's just crazy. Stay healthy.
You can find him at Tyler _
I could say that for every single team that's going to make the playoffs. Just stay healthy. Sometimes the playoffs are all about whoever stays the healthiest and whoever gets through the injuries adversity. So Thanks, Metcalf, for trying to throw me under the bus within 6 minutes of the podcast
I
starting. But
think
no,
you dove under that freely.
I just am being realistic. So I think
Listen.
that's the only thing that could stop the Thunder this year.
Listen, our guy Stephen Dolan last year, he had this joke that after Chet Holmgren came back, and after Chet Holmgren got hurt, and Ihart was out, and we were still winning games, and we were still this dominant force, and then they finally got healthy and they got back onto the team. He had this running gag of like, bring it on, basketball gods. Like, I don't even care about a jinx anymore. You guys already tried it. You guys already did it, and we moved past it. So I'm not going to go that far because we've already had a few injuries to some key rotational guys. Lou Dort's out, Ihart's out, Isaiah Joe was out tonight. But it's a machine. Like Brandon Carlson just checked in with his mask on. It's a great time. We're having a lot of fun here. In the Thunder fandom. So Case Wallace almost just dunked all over somebody. That was awesome. Cool. All right. That's what we get for watching basketball while we're podcasting. Fellas, this draft is special for a million reasons, but the headliner for this draft is not one name, not two names, but three names, three people that a lot of draft evaluators can't seem to get consensus on. That is Darren Peterson of Kansas, AJ Debanta of BYU, and Cam Boozer of Duke. Guys, we've had some special big threes before in the draft. Looking at 2022 draft with Chet, Paolo, and Jabari Smith Jr. at the time, as a prospect, a lot of people considered like that big three, like a really strong draft. Like there's been a history of awesome big threes. Where does this big three stack? Not even just the big threes, just some like the top prospects over the last 5 years. Where do you think these guys would rank?
So, I think the top of this draft has the potential to be the best top of the draft since LeBron's draft. I think the upside is that good with these guys. Now, obviously, a lot can go wrong, and guys don't necessarily always develop and whatnot. But right now, as prospects, that's kind of the stratosphere that I'm viewing this draft class in. And for that draft class, it was obviously LeBron, Darko, but Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. Like, it was loaded. It was a really, really fun draft class. And I think this one has the potential to return similar types of talent, not all-time greats necessarily, because that's unfair to these kids, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, like the last, going back to 2022, the Paulo and Chet draft, I think any of these three guys in this draft could have a chance to go number one in any of those draft classes. Now I'm throwing Victor out because Victor is obviously going first over everyone, but Richiche, Cooper Flag, the SAR was number two, and then Paulo and Chet. So that's how special I think all three of these guys are. I think they'd have a legit conversation, and it's worth the hype. You're going to hear that a lot, and it is very, very well worth the hype with those three. They're special upside. They're all super young. They're all really talented, and they're all just scratching the surface, which is why it's so fun and terrifying of how good these guys could become. And that's why every team's like, just get one. Just get one of these guys.
Yeah, and it's equal. Like, it's even more terrifying because obviously, like, this type of talent coming into the league, like, it's good for the league, but also, it's scary for, the other teams. It's even more scary, the thought that a team that might be coming off of back-to-back champions maybe broke the, all-time wins record in a regular season while winning a championship could add one of these pieces. And, as you guys know, years of covering, the Thunder, Sam Presti, who they like to draft. The Thunder don't always go with the flow on the draft. Like, they don't always go with consensus on the draft. So looking at these three guys, again, these are three guys who are very different players, kind of play different positions, different play styles. They give you, different strengths and weaknesses. Which of these three do you feel is more of a Thunder player?
It's kind of got to be Cam. Yeah. But I think Darren is very, very close to number two. I have Darren at one on my board, but just stylistically, I think Cam probably fits that more of that kind of do it all mold. A little cleaner, the other day on the No Ceilings pod, I kind of compared his offensive impact to what we saw from Chet coming into the league, where he may not be an offensive engine, but he just raises the floor of an offense. He elevates everything when he's on the court, and that's pretty much all of the guys that the Thunder draft tend to do.
I think Cam and Chet Holmgren would be unbelievable together. Like, I would probably, if I'm Sam Preston, I was like, I could have those two in the front court together. That's just unbelievable basketball IQ, awareness, and intangibles for years to come. I'm right there with Metcalf, though. Like, I have Cam at 1. I have Darren at 2. Darren, though, with the Thunder would also be just, my gosh.
You talk about a Chet Cam front court,
and then you talk about
a Darren SGA back court.
So but that's how exciting you get. And then you all of a sudden were like, well, what if they went AJ with Jalen Williams and AJ? So
I would be floored. AJ for me feels like the least Thundery.
Yes, I agree.
Player of the three.
Mm-hmm. I also agree, knowing very little about this, just kind of like seeing some of their play styles, it feels like you guys were saying, Cam feels like the more high feel player. I feel like Darren has a lot of skill and he's more of like a modern basketball player. AJ kind of feels like a throwback kind of shooting guard type player. Like, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because, Shea is a guy who's dominating in the mid range and in the post. He can still be a dominant player in his own right, but you have to be elite to be able to operate in that and lead a team like that, like Shea has been doing. And I don't see the Thunder, trying to go back into that. Well, I feel like, especially with the roster as it's built, they're looking for more like complementary high skill guys, like they have in the past. So it's funny. I was talking to Cone about this the other day and I was saying the same thing. Like, I don't know near as much about this as you guys. I haven't watched a single full game of these guys at all. I've seen highlights. I haven't seen lowlights, but just seeing what I've seen, I felt like Cam had the highest feel and, the best fit for the Thunder. And AJ was kind of the, round, what is it? Square peg in a round hole type thing.
He'd be, I don't know how to say this without upsetting some diehard AJ fans. Metcalf, you can tell me if you disagree. I think AJ would be the riskiest, but it would be the biggest swing. And if it hit, you'd be like, oh my gosh, run for your lives.
Yeah.
but it just doesn't make sense to me.
I think there's the most variance in his outcomes of the three, but like the areas that he loves to operate in, that he really thrives and dominates, are the exact same areas that SGA operates in. I think going to the Thunder could be the best thing ever for AJ. I think he would learn a lot because by all accounts, he's a really hard worker, really good kid, wants to be incredible. I don't think it'd necessarily be like a personality issue, but I just think play styles and where he wants to operate and where he thrives and can really dissect a defense is exactly where the reigning MVP tends to do it. So how that usage is going to unfold. Whereas like Darren and Cam can operate in different areas, can operate in different ways, can do a little can vary their offense a little more than AJ has shown so far. Whereas like AJ, I get like a lot of Carmelo Anthony from AJ and how he likes to operate in the mid-range, really utilize his frame, his physicality, his athleticism, his footwork, draw fouls, and then knock down tough mid-range shots. But there's also like a lot of catch, hold, survey, now go. Whereas the other two are much quicker in their processing and in decision-making.
Yeah, I agree with Metcalf on that one. AJ looks like a 2000 star, that like all-star that was just dropped into this era. Like a prospect that was made for that era that is trying to adjust. He's awesome. He's fantastic, but he's someone that you're going to be like, you need to feed him a lot of touches, let him do some stuff. And it's like, well, if I have a team of SGA and everybody else on this roster, probably not going to get the most touches in the world. So you're like, who can impact on this team early without getting the ball a lot? And those other two with Cam and Darren could really make serious strides early. I think Darren's got defensive potential people aren't even talking about. I mean, Metcalf been like, if he figures that out, it's going to be horrifying for like he could be an all defensive talent. And Cam is just, I mean, I would be shocked if, let's say OKC just had like the choice to pick any of those. I would be shocked if they passed up an opportunity to put Cam Boozer with Chet, because he just is so much Thunder basketball, like the playmaking, the vision, the unselfishness, the toughness. And I also think Cam's concerns right now would be watered down with this roster and the pieces around. So I don't know. It just it'd be a great problem to have. Be a great problem to have.
And also, like it bears worth mentioning that there's a lot of college season left to play too. Like there's a lot of room for all these guys to grow, and expand their games. I do want to ask, so obviously we've seen with the Thunder is in order for you to play, you have to be able to at least put the effort in defensively. And again, I don't know these guys very well. And, I see the offensive highlights. There's nothing on defense. How do these guys all hold up defensively?
Metcalf, I'm letting you start. Dr. Defense, we call him.
I think all three could be all defensive team players. Darren, we see flashes of it, but there's some inconsistency. And he's been hurt, missed the last couple of weeks, so we haven't been able to see him or see what type of growth from high school there was. And in high school, he was obviously the guy creating everything. So like all high school players, there are some defensive lapses, but when he wants to, he's going to shut down anyone. He can be super disruptive on the weak side. Cam is just a master of doing the little things. Like if he's your primary rim protector, I think you're going to be in trouble. But with the Thunder, that wouldn't be the case. Where he finds his success is being where he needs to be exactly when he needs to be there. He's almost never out of position. The footwork's really good. So the quicker guys will beat him going east-west, and sometimes turn the corner on him, but he's so strong and he's so fundamentally sound that he doesn't get in foul trouble. He doesn't make mistakes. You're never going to catch him sleeping and giving up backdoor cuts or stuff like that. And then AJ, the last year, we've seen him be one of the most impactful on-ball defenders with his size, and he's constantly wanting to take the toughest defensive matchup. Big issue with him is the off-ball stuff.
Yeah, I'm with Metcalf. They all have that potential, and that's why it's such a crazy year. That's why this class could be so special, is because you're like these could be all NBA two-way monsters, like all three of these guys. Now it's a big if, because we're always like, hey, it looks great. He looked great out of high school. He looked really promising in college. History has shown us in the past that, like, hey, one out of three guys in those first three picks usually don't hit. But it's like, well, history might be rewriting itself this year, because we just don't see this often. And I think they all have parts of their games you really like to see defensively that you're just like, okay, how long is it going to take till it's consistent and they're buying in? But there's something with each of them that's different. And there's something where it's like, oh my gosh, there's, Darren, I think, has really special off-ball awareness at times. Like Metcalf said, but like when you get to AJ, it's like, well, the on-ball is really special, but the off-ball needs some work. So there's improvement areas everywhere. Boozer's smart. And he battles, and he's really, really like active out there. So, I mean, they all have these really special tools. They all have the capability to play early. Like, they can get on the court with a lot of stuff they do, especially defensively. I think you just want to see how consistently can it be.
Right. All right. I love it. I love it. I want to ask you this question, because I think it was last week or the week before. I posted a graphic. I got on Tankathon. I did a couple lottery spins, and I have one where we had the number 1 pick, the number 9 pick, and the number 14 pick. Which, by the way, will be absolutely amazing. But not expecting it, but it'll be awesome. But I had a lot of people saying a lot of different things in the comments, but there was one person, there was a couple takes that kind of stood out to me. I want to get your opinion on. I have my opinion. I'll let you know afterwards. But the first one was, if I was the Thunder and I got the number 1 pick, I would trade it for future assets, because we already have our championship roster intact. We have the rotation intact. We have these guys locked up financially. The second apron's coming up. Like, you guys are going to have a James Harden situation again. So that was the first take. How do you guys feel about that take?
No.
Okay.
Hard pass.
I'm right there.
Next
with
year,
you.
yes. Next year, probably. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just you don't pass up on these
Mhm.
guys. You really don't pass up on them. So no, I would say hard no.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was some people that was even saying like the number 1 pick isn't going to want to ride the bench for the Thunder. I'm like, brother, like there's
The number
spots.
54th pick doesn't ride the bench for the Thunder. What are we talking about?
This 55, man. Show Aaron Wiggins some love. Come on now.
Sorry, my bad. Like, they play everyone. If you can play,
Mhm.
you're going to get minutes there. They do the best job in the league of getting guys minutes and experience and rotating guys in. No,
Yep.
no one rides the bench there.
That was exactly my take. I was like the Thunder have a history of plugging in young guys like almost immediately, if not the starting lineup, at least like heavy rotation minutes to work into the starting lineup. See Chet Holmgren, see Jalen Williams, see the other Jalen Williams, see Casey Wallace, see Aaron Wiggins, see AJ Mitchell. Now, like this is not new. Like if you're denying this, you're just not paying attention. And if you were to get a guy like Cam Boozer, like automatically, like he like we don't really have a wing. Like a big wing to come off the bench, like a guy that, we have a lot of guards. We have like Case, we have Caruso, we have Isaiah Joe, we have Aaron Wiggins, but we don't. Then it's like I love Ooze. Shout out Jane Gang. Like we have Ooze and we have J Will there, coming off the bench. Like we don't have like that staple kind of wing player. We have Kendrick Williams too, and I love Kenny, but he doesn't have a lot of talent. He's just kind of like plug and play. But also you look at the starting lineup. You talk about second apron concerns. Ihart's been awesome this year. Like he's been absolutely phenomenal when healthy. The double big lineup has looked great. But if you get in a situation where, Chet's playing as the 5 right now while Ihart's out for the next couple of weeks, and if you're able to see the team unlock something offensively, defensively with Chet as the 5, and you think you're ready to step into that, Ihart is a guy whose contract is expiring. It's somebody that you can like get off of, and then you have an automatic spot for that potential first round pick to come in. Whether Cam Boozer, slide right in next to Chet, like you're saying. AJ Dub-Ansa, he can slide in there. Him and Dub can kind of like fluctuate between 3 and 4. Darren Peterson, you can slide Dub back up to 4, and Peterson's right there too. So like I thought that was a extremely dumb and unfounded take.
I get it. I get it. It's just like, well, hey, let's just kick the can down the road and keep getting more picks. So I understand the thought process of like, oh, it sounds good, but then you look at the class depth and strength, and you're like, you can't pass this opportunity up because you might trade for future assets, and they're picking 25th in a bad draft.
Yeah.
You never know like how quickly things are going to change year to year, but also with the Thunder situation, like you just were saying, it was like eventually guys are going to have to leave, and you got to get rid of these guys, and you just keep funneling in new ones. You keep replacing it with cheap alternatives. So that's why I think they're just don't trade these picks. Just keep drafting guys. And if you have to stash or sell like one of the later ones, eventually fine. But I love what they're doing because you're kind of you're cheating around the CBA right now because you're like, well, we're just going to get a high draft pick in here to replace. We're going to develop them with time and patience. And reap the benefits. This is what they did with a lot of guys on this roster. So it's a great plan. It's working out. Requires a lot of patience from the team, the coach, and ownership. So it's everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, and I just want to say, speaking of Uzma Johnny, he did just hit a big 3. Shout out, Jane Gang. All right. The other thing that I saw on there is I actually think it was a podcast that said this, but somebody had the take that if I was a top 3 pick, I wouldn't want to go to the Oklahoma City Thunder for all the reasons that I said before.
I get it, but I no. Like like everyone who goes there gets better. They become more versatile. They learn how to play both ways. They get on-ball reps. They get off-ball reps. They get coached. They get held accountable, and they get opportunity. So, like, I get the thought process, and it probably goes in, kind of hand in hand with that idea of, oh, well, I'm going to be coming off the bench forever. It's like, well, not necessarily. Not if you're the guy that we think you are, because if you can play, you're going to play, and you're going to beat out the guy in front of you, and someone's going to get moved at the end of the day, whether it's you or someone else. Like, that's just how it happens. So I would be more than happy going to the best team in the league as a rookie.
I get it. As Metcalf's saying, I would agree. I would agree that this is probably not the right thinking, because I know you want to be the guy, but you also could argue, oh, this is the easiest possible transition to the NBA because I'm just going to play with a championship caliber team and not have to carry all the responsibilities right out of the gate. And there's going to be a lot of tension on other guys, not just me. So look, if by the time you're up with your rookie contract and ready to hit free agency, you've got about 3 rings on your belt, you probably have a pretty good resume going into that. So you can figure it out later. So,
well, and like, what's the alternative? Like, you go to one of these teams that's perennially bad, not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but it's like
Milwaukee,
Brooklyn, easy. Like Brooklyn, Charlotte, Washington, Utah, like you can name any of them. And it's like, what do the top picks tend to do on these horrible teams? Sometimes, yeah, they turn the entire franchise around, but a lot of the times they just form bad habits and reach 60% of what they should have been. So I could not disagree with that take.
the last thing I'll say is
emphatically.
I would love to go to a place that develops players. That would be my number one thing. Like, who has a great track history of like getting the best out of these guys? I'd be like, oh, okay, see, like, yeah, they're gonna make me a better basketball player. Then you figure out all that stuff down the road. But yeah, I don't agree.
And yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I've been hammering this since last year, but like you're seeing a lot this year as well. It's not just the players that you draft. And, you know, Shea's his own animal because his work ethic is, you know, madman like. But Isaiah Joe was a guy that was a spot up shooter, like not even a movement shooter. Like he was thought of as like a spot up shooter as his skill in the NBA. And the Sixers just let him go, just let him go one season, and the Thunder picked him up. And, you know, we was able to accentuate that spot up shooting because, you know, you have the best driver in the league, but also over the years, he has become a movement shooter last year. He battles defensively. Like he's up there in like the top 10, top 5 and like offensive fouls drawn like this season. He rebounds. He's an underrated playmaker. He makes like really slick passes. And like, these are all things that you don't see in Isaiah Joe's game, especially coming into the league, but even when in his time in Philadelphia. But he's just steadily improved in like a bunch of different areas year after year in the Thunder system.
Yeah, just everyone who's there gets better, whether they're a top pick or undrafted or traded or picked up off waivers. It doesn't matter, because all they do is play the right way and play within a team concept. And when you see it's like what we saw from the Spurs in the early 2000s, where when you see your stars buying in and doing all the little stuff every single time, it's a lot easier to get everyone else to do it. So yeah, and it's a coach's dream to have those guys be your stars, because now it's like, all right, rookie with a ton of expectations and pedigree and ego comes in. It's like, you think you're going to run the show? No, like, buy in and do this stuff or have fun with the blue.
Yeah, that's what the Spurs used to say all the time. It's like we want to draft guys that are over themselves, and I think that's what you're seeing with the Thunder. Is like, I know the press say like we're drafting players, not our people, not just players. That's a big, that sets the tone for the culture, and I think, you never give up on talent. So when Isaiah Joe got released, I was like, man, that was quick. Someone's gonna try to see if it could work for them, and that's why we're always like, hey, a new place might be the best thing. And I think the Thunder probably just did a great job of being like, they're the best team, I think, right now of developing and installing confidence, which is everything in the NBA. You need confidence to unlock a player and get trust. And it's just the key. It's the golden ticket. And I think the Thunder are the best at it right now when it comes to like, we're going to inject some confidence in these guys and then unlock their development and make them better players. That's all you need.
Yep, absolutely. Love it. Love it. All right, guys, we talked ad nauseum about the top 3, and, we will talk about them throughout the season. But say the Thunder don't get into the top 3. Is it obviously, like, this is found money because it's the unprotected Clippers pick, and we was expecting it to be good last year and it wasn't, and we was expecting it to be, about the same this year, and it's a lot better seeming like so far. So, like, you can't be too disappointed. But, like, what is the talent drop off from the top 3 to, like, the next tier?
And for me, there's still a pretty decent drop off, but then it's just to 2 guys who are in a tier of their own. For me, with Caleb Wilson from North Carolina and Michael Brown, point guard from Louisville. I know we always say, God, Thunder can't take another guard. They might, who knows?
Why not?
And it honestly wouldn't shock me, but I think Caleb Wilson would be an absolute blast with that team, with his defense, his athleticism, the way he gets to the rim, the fact that he can't shoot, and he would fit right in.
Look, it's Thunder fans that are getting caught. I mean, you probably aren't getting caught up on the draft, but you also need to be ready for it. It's not the normal drop, I would say, Metcalf. Like, there is a tier difference, but it's not the normal, like, talent drop. Because Caleb, I think, has really scary upside, and it plays like a madman, and he's 6'10" and really athletic. Like, it's kind of like a, hey, if you got the fourth pick, you probably wouldn't be that bummed about getting Caleb Wilson.
Yeah, like in the 24 draft, Caleb and Michael probably would be in the conversation for one, if not clear cut one.
Yeah. So that starts to set the tone of like, oh, okay, this gets even more fun in that top 5. Like there's a lot of really fun pieces that have crazy good upside. It's a great year to be the Thunder. Like it's to have all these picks, even if they're all over the place. It's a great year to have like those assets. So yeah, I think Caleb and Michael right now for me would be, I'm right there with Metcalf, are like the next two, just because the upside's, tremendous as well. They still have all-star, all-NBA upside.
After that, though, that's where I start to where I personally start to see a much more precipitous drop. Not that these guys are bad, but it starts to trend more into like solid starter to kind of solid starter range, rather than potential all-star upside. And obviously, we always get some outliers in that range, anyways. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a couple names that I've heard. Aside from Caleb Wilson, Caleb Wilson's a big name that I've heard a lot. I haven't heard a lot of Mikael Brown. That's probably just because, like you said, it's like, oh, the Thunder don't need any more guards.
Well, I just assume that's because you muted everything Louisville.
No, Mikael Brown's nice. Mikael Brown's nice. I gotta say, that Kentucky game was much closer than I would have given any credit for. But no, Mikael Brown's nice. I'll give him his flowers. But Caleb Wilson's definitely a name that I've heard. But a couple other names that I've heard that I want to kind of pick your all's brain about is Koa Pete, and what is that dude's name from Virginia?
Neo Avlis.
Yeah, that guy.
Virginia Tech or Virginia?
It's definitely Tech.
There's
no one from Virginia.
See, listen,
23-year-old freshman.
This is why I have you guys here.
Metcalf, you could go ahead.
Oh, good. I get to be the.
I'll do it. So I'm an Arizona fan, and I'll be honest. Yeah. There's a lot of Koa Pete believers out there. He's a winner. Everyone's going to talk about Cam Boozer's resume. He's had an unbelievable resume going into the draft. He's won at every level. All he does is win. All he does is produce like a machine. Koa Pete's right behind him. Koa Pete's won at every level. He's right up there too. He's got incredible family background. A lot of I think his dad played in the NFL. His brothers played in the NFL. They're all like offensive linemen. I think his sisters were all athletes. It's a tough.
Everyone in the family was at least a D1 athlete.
Yeah, and they're all like gigantic. So I think Koa's like 6'7", 240, and he might be the smallest one of the family. Like, it's just ridiculous. So he's tough. He's got some vertical pop. He's like a 2-foot leaper that needs 2 feet. And he has about one shot right now. And it is a get the ball, drive into the middle, and take a little fade. Other than that, he doesn't have much of a shot when it comes to just like, there's not a lot of outside game. And he tries to beat you with garbage time and, bullying and throwing his body around. It's worked all the time, but athletes are going to be a lot better at the next level. They're going to be a lot stronger. So I just have questions. There's a lot of people that love him. Think he's a top 10, top 7 guy. I think he's more like, hey, if you could get Koa Pete 10 on, if you loved him and you're the Thunder, that's great. But I don't know if I'm taking him top 6 because of the draft class and the upside of some of the other guys.
Right.
I just keep waiting for the defense to take a major
Yeah.
leap. We get flashes of it, but it's like if he buys in really hard on that end of the floor, it's like, and Rucker's, this will be the 1,000th time he's heard me say this, but it's like, all right, so are you going to be Aaron Gordon or are you going to be Derek Williams? And if he really buys into defense, I think he has Aaron Gordon type of upside where, maybe eventually the shot turns into being an actual reliable tool in certain spot up situations and the occasional game where he just gets insanely hot, some fun passing stuff. But it's like, all right, you're probably never going to be the driver of the offense, and that's okay as long as you buy into doing all the little stuff. And so far, Pete's had games here and there where he's done it, but I feel like we haven't gotten those consistent stretches of him just really being the dominant defender that he could and should be. He has all the tools for it. We've seen it enough of it, just not consistently. So that's where I struggle with him.
To add on to Metcalf, just about like the emphasis of his offensive game, we're 7 games into the year. He's taken 4 total threes. He has not made one. So he's not. He does not want to shoot it from out there. It's just he doesn't want to shoot it out there. He's never had to because he can just bully and get downside, and he wants to. He is the 2000s power forward. Like, I want to get in the mid range and beat you there and beat you at the elbow.
For that.
Yeah, and he's undersized for that. So it's a little bit of a tough, like, how's this going to work? But every time he's just win. He just wins all the time, and he's doing that this year. He's had unbelievable performances. He's weird. He's had great, unbelievable performances in really tough matchups.
Yeah,
and like the tune-up games, he's played bad. So it's been like, what? It's usually the opposite of this. So,
but like he's a guy like if the Thunder can grab him in like the late lottery, I think that would be an awesome swing for them and a perfect fit for him, because it'd be like, all right, we're about to unlock everything in your game that has yet to be barely even touched. And I do think that they would be able to get the best out of him because there's so much just like rawness and talent there. But it like he almost kind of plays like he's just been allowed to do whatever he wants, and he's just been so productive on offense throughout the years where it's like, all right, a defensive lapse here and there, not a big deal because you're putting up 30 and 15 every night.
Right. No, I feel that. And it's ironic you say that he's like a 2000s power forward right now. When, Metcalf, you brought up Derek Williams. Like, Derek Williams felt like, he would be really good in this modern era. It felt like he was kind of ahead of his time. But, of course, the lack of defense, but like, just his offensive game. I used to love Derek Williams, man. He had a heck of a tournament.
Yeah.
Who was that?
It's a great night.
That's who it was. Yeah. That was crazy. All right. Anyways, back on task. There was one other guy I wanted to mention besides the Virginia Tech guy. I think he plays for Houston. Is it Chris Sinek?
Sinek or Kingston Flemings?
Well, that's another guard. So I'm sure they're thinking big.
Yeah, I think
they're thinking big.
Sinek.
Well, we didn't touch on Neo at all. So
go ahead.
Neo Avdalas came over from Greece last year, playing for Virginia Tech, like a 6'9" point wing creator, whatever you want to classify him as. People got way out over their skis after his first game against Providence.
Yeah.
I don't know why you laugh every time I use that. It's a real saying. Just because you live in the desert.
I have heard it.
Uncultured swine.
I hate that saying.
Then get out of the sand. Go
Uncultured swine is great. Sand. Shout out Troy.
But yeah, so he had a monster game against Providence, and I bought in. I thought he answered a lot of questions for me, and I think he's continued to answer a lot. But when people are out here comparing him, saying he's the next Luka, it's asinine. I'm sorry. Luka is in that category of players you do not compare prospects to. It's LeBron, it's MJ, it's Magic. Like, you don't compare these guys because they are singular. And as we've seen in these last couple of weeks, Neo is in fact not Luka. He's gotten way too passive, and he's still really fun passer. The shot still looks solid. There's some defensive flashes. He just kills his dribble too much, and it for me it feels a lot more Keyshawn George with the Washington Wizards, where he's this really toolsy, smart, impactful wing, but he's not Luka.
You know, when you probably Thunder fans get really excited about like a big Ujman Zhang game, and you're like, if we could just get this all the time, this would be great.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of get
Yeah.
downhill for a while, and you're like, well, what happened to that other game? That game was great. What changed?
He's dunking now.
That's Neo. So Neo has a game, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, this guy looks like a top 5 pick. How do you pass this up? He's 6'9", shoots threes, has good footwork, throws dimes. Like, this is unbelievable. And then he has like 4 straight games where it's like 11 and 3. What's going on? So it's just always a consistency thing. He's got to be able to shoot it. I'm with Metcalf. People right away were like, hey, this is Luka again. And it's like, okay, we can't do the Kevin Durant thing where everyone's like tall guy that is skinny and shoots in high school.
Also,
Is Kevin Durant
being off limits.
Yeah, that one's fine. Like, let's get rid of that one. And then now it's, hey, white international tall playmaking guy that shoots threes is Luka. It's like, no, can't do that. So I think he's definitely one to keep watching. Like, he's got a chance these next couple of weeks. They got a good schedule. He could get going again and make some noise, but it's the same questions you had last year from when he was playing overseas in Greece. It's the inconsistency. So someone's gonna love him because when it's on, it is unbelievable. But you just like, are you gonna get that more consistently or not? But I think teams are gonna love him. I think NBA teams are gonna love him a lot because there's tools to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and kind of like you guys were saying with Go at Pete, like, say the Thunder do get 1-9-14, like if they was able to like grab him at like 14, I don't know what his range is, but I'm just saying, like, you know, if he's the 3rd pick in your draft that you're bringing in as the guy that just, like, as you said, has a lot of tools, some upside, he's got, like, you know, a good fit, good feel, like, yeah, bring him on.
And when he's not having to run the show, I just think it's going to look better because the spacing at the NBA is going to be better, and being more of that second side creator instead of the primary guy, less defensive attention, more opportunities for him to attack those rotations and closeouts and all that stuff and find those gaps in the defense.
There's a lot of those guys, like Metcalf saying earlier, and I agree with him of like, hey, there's a tier drop off, but there's still like upside galore swings in this class where it's like, well, that could be the all-star, like Metcalf was hinting. Like, there's always outliers. There could be a lot of all-stars in this class. It's just really early right now, and it looks like guys are really cementing themselves, but Neo could develop into that. It's just right now it seems like it's a little like, hey, top 5 in this class or top 7 in this class might be a little rich now that we've seen. Okay, it's still, you know, I was even thinking like, oh, maybe he is top 5 after that 33-point game. But then I was like, there he is. And that's why we're like, we got to be patient.
For sure. And Chris, is it Snack?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So like snack, but like enunciating the, like, really just hammering home the SN. All right, good.
I was getting it wrong every time, and then Metcalf literally told me the same thing with the snack. So
really, let's go.
So I was like, "Thank you, Metcalf," because I always miss the name.
He's fun. He's super raw. But when you watch him, it's like, oh man, this dude wants it so bad. He wants to be good. He wants to be effective. He wants to be coached. I'll let Rucker share his in-person stuff and not step on his toes. But it's like he's just so raw. And once a couple things fall into place with him, I think he could be a real problem. Now, those things may not fall into place, and you never know with these guys. But the desire, the work rate, the fact that he chose Houston, it tells me a lot about who he is as a person off the court without knowing anything about him personally. And then you just factor in the size, the defensive playmaking, the outside shooting. It's like, okay, well, those tools are enough to allow you to stick around for a while at a minimum. And now we factor in all the intangible stuff and what that could mean for your rawness and your potential and your development 2 years, 3 years, 4 or 5 years down the line. Now we're talking about a really, really fun player.
I was just hinting at it. Like, he's one of the biggest upside swings if he's going to be in this class, because, you know, I've talked to scouts there. I'm like, hey, could he be the surprise guy that just says, I'm looking at next year's class is a little weaker. I could maybe be in the running for your top 3 pick. Maybe I just go back for another year. But with Chris, You see some games and you'll be like, oh my gosh, the upside's like top 5 in this class. But there is a lot of rawness in his game. I kind of, the vibes I have is like, he's Khalil Ware, but hungry. And I mean that by like, he wants to be great. He wants to be coached. And I got to see him in person, and like, he didn't have the greatest games, but every time they're coaching him hard. And every time he is just locked in, like, even if the coaches are grilling him, he's locked in. He's like, all right, I got you. They're coaching him so hard, you'd expect someone to get their head down, and he's just nope, like all right, and then he's trying so hard. So it's me and Metcalf saw him, and Corey and Albert, we saw him at Nike Hoop Summit. I looked down and I was like, Houston, heck yeah, that's where you want a big guy go, because you want him to go get coached, learn how to play defense, learn to play the right way. He's going to be a guy in like 2 months. I think we all could be like, oh, Chris really is hitting his stride now, and he can shoot a little bit from outside. There's some defensive flashes. He just needs time. I love him in OKC with a later pick, because I think just you get Sorber back healthy, you get another talented big with upside you can just bring along slowly, and then you're like, oh gosh, now we have a backcourt problem. Now we have a big problem because we have so many good ones. Like that's what you do, and I think that's what smart organizations do. And I think maybe that's the next piece of the puzzle for OKC. Maybe Presti starts going, all right, I'm going to build the trees a little bit now. I'm going to get some pieces down there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really funny, man. We're talking about like all this potential to bring in picks this year, but we still have 2 lottery picks and Topic and Sorber that are just like waiting in the wings. And it's just, it's nuts. It's the truest definition of embarrassment of riches. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and take a break. Once we get back from our break, we're going to talk about guys to kind of keep an eye on in the college season, and some sneaky Thunder fits after a word from our sponsors. And we're back after a word from our sponsors. That was awesome. Guys, we are here with the Tywers, Rucker, and Metcalf of No Ceilings. They are on the podcast every year with us, giving us all the goodies on the draft knowledge. This is just a draft primer. This is not our deep dive. This is not a 3-hour podcast. This is just an hour. So we only got about 12, 15 minutes left here. So kind of wrapping up, I just wanted to ask you guys, who are a couple guys that we should be keeping an eye on as Thunder fans the rest of the college basketball season, and who's some sneaky Thunder fits that you like?
I feel like Metcalf's going to say the same one as me, so I'll steal it from him. I think Braylon Mullins would be an absolute home run for Thunder fans, the Thunder organization. I'm sure they're foaming at the mouth for Braylon Mullins. If you look up his stats as a Thunder fan right now, you're going to be like, what? And it's like, okay, well, let me set the tone for you. So 6'6", 200 pounds, really dangerous shooter at UConn. He had a preseason ankle injury that he missed the first 6 weeks, I think, Metcalf. He just returned. Second game, he had about 17 points off the bench against Kansas on the road. Really smart, like movement shooter, cutter, off ball. I told Metcalf he kind of reminds me of Klay Thompson. So that would be a fun one to get a little intrigued by. I like that one. That one's the one every Thunder fan might be dreaming of, the big three. And I'm like, no, Braylon Mullins would be a heck of a get with this team right now if you could inject that unbelievable high IQ sharpshooter. So that's one I would say keep an eye on.
And if we're looking at just absolute off-ball snipers, I'd say like right in the tier below that, Isaiah Evans from Duke plays with a ton of attitude, has grown a ton just as an off-ball mover, off-ball creator, passer, defender, all of it. And Cameron Carr from Baylor, really kind of similar players. Carr has a little more bounce to his game, but just absolute lethal off-ball shooters if you're kind of looking to potentially replace that Isaiah Joe spot.
I'm trying to think of other ones. Hans Steinbeck might be a Isaiah Hartenstein replacement.
That is a guy that Alex brought up early in the year.
Good. That's a good one.
Insane rebounder, fun passer.
Really talented. Came over, had an unbelievable FIBA summer
Like,
with Germany. Insane numbers, and he's been doing the same thing for Washington. I think he just went 11 for 12 for 29 and 10 the other night. Good. It would be a really good piece. That's could be a Hartenstein plus. So I think if you got him at some point, you'd be really ecstatic with that one. And then I'll throw in an upperclassman because I'm always shouting out my guys. I think Thomas Houck would be unbelievable.
you stole him.
Thunder.
Yeah,
I think he would be unbelievable. Madman at Florida. I just watched the Duke Florida game to watch Boozer and Pat Ngongba, and I left going, oh my gosh, Thomas Houck is going to make one team really happy. So tough, kind of a pick and pop weapon that's really starting to become like a slasher. He's a lunatic in the best possible way. Just a lunatic on the court, plays really, really hard. Metcalf said this preseason. I hate giving him credit, but Metcalf said he's the one guy that does all the stuff the superstars don't want to do. And that's why teammates will love playing with him, because he's always doing everything he can. Screens, crashing for offensive rebounds, diving for stuff. He's a madman, and he's 6'9", so that helps.
It's kind of like Lou Dort in like a 6'7" frame.
Yeah,
Shoot.
That's a good one.
That'd be nice.
He's really, really fun, and has grown a ton on offense this year. And another upperclassman, Yaxel Lundeberg from Michigan. Power forward.
That's self-serving.
Does
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm talking like in the 20s. I'm not taking him lottery by any means. But he's been insane for Michigan, and he's last year at UAB he showed that he can drive an offense, and put up some impressive defensive numbers. This year with Michigan, he's fallen back more into that off-ball role, that play finishing role, and like connective passer role, which is more than likely what his NBA outcome is going to be. And I think he's someone who's proving that he can be really malleable in any context. Good rebounder, smart passer, proving to be a really good shooter.
I'm just laughing because I pull up Tankathon because I was trying to see where the other Thunder pick is right now, and then I'm like, oh, I forgot they have 28 right now too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's why I'm looking down the board a little
Every
bit.
time I open up Tankathon, they have another first. They're going to have all 30 picks.
I think we have like 5 potential picks.
I think Billy Richmond could be really fun in that with that last pick too.
Yeah. There's
He's
a
still
lot
at
of Thunder
Arkansas?
guys.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. From Arkansas. Rucker, what do you think about like potential Adaimara look?
That's why I keep the picks if I'm a Thunder fan, because I
We're
start
getting weird.
Well, I'm not. If I'm Presti, I start twisting like a mustache, like a cartoon character. I forget the name. Gosh, I'm not that old.
Was it Boris from like Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Yeah, I think. Yep. There it is. See, okay. Because Mara would be a fun wrinkle of a coaching staff to throw out. Like, so Adai Mara was at really awesome overseas for 3 years ago. Gosh, jeez. Yeah. Went to UCLA. That didn't work out. Yeah, that didn't work out for 2 years, and then now he's at Michigan, and it's like, oh my gosh, he's back. But 7'3", really talented passer. That's a good start. 7'3", 250, and he has fantastic vision, good shot blocking. That's pretty much all he needs right now to get OKC intrigued. So I like that, Metcalf. I like that a lot. I can't talk about guards for them anymore. They got AJ Mitchell, and I was like, that's all you need. You're good.
Yeah, but they may not be able to afford him.
Nice, bro.
I
was about to say he's got the best contract in the league right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so
Vasar maybe.
A little bit,
maybe a little bit.
He's
Perez Johnson. No, but Sorber. I'm a big Sorber. If Sorber hits also, Thunder.
But they have a roster
because I'm going to be obnoxious.
They don't have roster spots, so it's like all of these names we're throwing out. It's not like because this player sucks. It's like no, they got depth. They have guys who play 10 deep right now, and guys waiting in the wings on IR or on 2 ways, and it's like you just kind of have to look at the style and the characteristics of what they tend to draft for. I think Vasar has some like knockoff Chet Holmgren vibes to him.
Yeah. Look, I just this is the year I would want to have all those picks. I think Thunder are in a great spot, and I know, we're probably saying like they can't take another guard, but Metcalf's spot on. Like,
Of course they can.
yes, they can, because that's what they've been doing. Like, they're taking the best player on their board, and it's a factory right now of just assets. They changed the league because now everyone's looking and being like, we need depth. We need different lineups we can throw out there. We need to draft it. And I'm like, finally, about time. Thank you, OKC. Like, tired of watching the Bucks play one guy and a bunch of other ones.
Bucks drive-bys galore.
I don't really have a connection with their fan base. So when I meet someone that I like, I'll just be like, okay, cool. The Bucks are fine. So yeah, I just think they're gonna keep doing this, and eventually they might make some trades or lose some guys to free agency, and it's like, okay, next man up. It's an awesome thing to see. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. One last name that I did remember. I don't even know if he ended up coming to Duke. I know that he was transferring there. Dame Sarr. I know a lot of guys. Dame. Okay. See,
that's okay. That's why we help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Dame Sarr. I like him. I like him infinitely more now. Dame Sarr, I know a lot of people like as a high upside guy, but can you guys tell me about him? Do you think he fits what the Thunder's looking for?
Metcalf, go.
Okay.
Just like a brief pause. It's like
no, nope. it's just I'm trying to give you both sides.
He's super raw. He is insanely raw. The defensive upside with him is terrifying. I kind of look at him as like almost like a bigger Chris Dunn right now, where I'm not totally sure what you're going to get on offense. The shot still has a long ways to go. It's come a long way in just the last year or so. I think and he's really fun in the open court. We get some occasional passing flashes, but I was hoping for a little bit more than what we've gotten. Maybe it's context and situation. Maybe it's just capabilities at this point. But he's struggled to really make an impact and show up in these last couple games for them. He goes a little invisible at times, but when he pops in a big way. So he's a guy that I don't really know if there's like an actual range on right now. I think it's probably a team by team basis type of thing, and he could fall anywhere. And hopefully he's one of these guys that really starts to turn the corner in the next month or so. But super raw. The tools are insane. It's just how realistic is it that those tools get unlocked into production?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm looking at it. If the draft fell this way, obviously it won't. But, OKC has 18 and 28 with 9 and 6. I would get a team like that taking him at 18.
Yeah.
I would want to probably get him at 28. But I'm with Metcalf. I don't know the range with him right now because I'm watching him, and defensively, I'm like, I would swing on that alone. At 6'8" with that athleticism and those tools, I would swing on that. Offensively, I think we got a while. But a team like OKC, get him with the blue right away. Just get him with the blue and let him develop and do what you do, and then man, he could be a fun weapon. That could turn into something where you're like, oh, he's going to win us a playoff series by his defense or his impact, and we're not expecting. And then you just, oh my gosh, look at it, he's blossoming. Like how AJ Mitchell just all of a sudden you're like, hey, AJ Mitchell's awesome. Yeah, if they're patient with Dame, you could really find something. But I could also right now be like, I don't know if I'd touch him in the first, but I was lower on him coming into the year. But I've also watched the defense and been like, the defense is better than I was expecting. So I think there's tremendous upside. But
and he's one of these guys where if it doesn't work with him, like if he doesn't reach his full potential, it's not going to be for a lack of trying. Like the kid's work rate, desire to be good, all of the intangibles are everything that you could hope for. Like it's really impressive stuff. Like when we saw him at Hoop Summit, he took a big bet on himself going there, and like he really, really cares.
Good intel.
Yeah.
Good intel, good kid. works hard, and that's why I'm saying like, hey, I'm even lower. But if I was OKC and I had 2 lottery picks, and at 18 you got another one, you're like, let's get Dame, and then we'll get some sweetener at the end of the first, and then you're like doing backflips because you're like, we got a great upside pick here at 18, and got 2 of our guys early. Like we're ecstatic. So, just a wait and see one. I thought he was going to be one we got to be really patient with this year, and he looks like it right now.
Okay, fellas, we went an hour. I just want to ask you guys 2 questions to end the pod. This is just rapid fire. This isn't even draft. This is just Thunder. Me and Metcalf was kind of talking before the pod started. And Rucker, you actually chimed in a little bit there at the end, but I just want to, on the record, do you guys think the Thunder break the wins record?
No.
I'll say yeah.
Okay.
I think they get close.
I think in a weird way, the J-Dub injury and coming back, I said this before, but like I think it kind of like helps that record pursuit because they're going to need to like try to get him some minutes, get some rust off of him. They got too much depth right now. I think they could really make a legit run at it. What were they? What was the record before J-Dub came back? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get caught up on everything.
They're like 22
I think we only
22 and 1.
22
and 1 before getting back one of the best young wings in the entire league. I feel pretty good about this team.
Yeah, he's playing really well. He had, I think, 22 last game, and he's already got, I think he has 8. I saw he's got like 8, 5, and 3 right now at halftime. So like, yeah, he's already cooking, man. Like it took a little bit.
Program.
Yeah, that first. That's what I'm saying. Like you guys have been on top of this. And then the last thing I say, and this might hurt Metcalf. I don't know. Do you guys think the Thunder repeat as champions this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Look, things can change, but even if someone else gets hot, I like OKC's roster better than anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say yeah.
I love it. That was self-serving. I will go and say that was self-serving. But I do want to say that there's been a conversation about if you get 70 wins in this era, it's almost just as, if not more impressive as getting the 74 wins back when the Warriors did, just because of the 3-point variance and the influx of talent around the league and how deep some of these teams are with talent. Like every night, like even the worst teams have a guy that can go off and give you 25, 30 points in a game and give you headaches. So, yeah, even if we don't win the record, listen, Nuggets fans, Luka fans, they all want to chirp us on Twitter about Shea, if he deserves MVP or not. Shea also, I don't think he cares about MVP win. Let's just go get a ring and then let's go to the draft and let's reload again and let's go get another ring. That's our mindset. So, yeah, that's how we'll end the self-serving portion. And now we're going to get it back to you guys here. As always, we definitely appreciate you guys coming on. It's always a blast. We always learn a lot when you're on here. Hopefully next time you guys are on here, more people will be on here with us as well. So you guys don't just got to listen to me blabber and talk about Kentucky basketball, but as
not much to talk about. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring up a single player, even though
you said it. I was thinking it too.
I should have brought up Qantas. It's okay. It's okay. We have another. We'll see if he gets in games to talk about that. But
yeah,
I'm gonna kick it back to you guys. Go ahead, and even though you could just throw a proverbial rock into the internet and probably find you guys somewhere, go ahead and tell folks where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm Tyler Metcalf at TMetcalf11. He's Tyler Rucker at Tyler_Rucker. At No Ceilings NBA on Twitter, No Ceilings on YouTube, the No Ceilings NBA Draft Podcast, the Ground Floor Podcast presented by the Field of 68, Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings. We'll be on NBA TV, calling a bunch of the Future Starts Now games and, doing shows like the warm up, like Corey and I did the other week with John Fanta. NoCeilingsNBA.com. Go subscribe. Why not? It makes sure that you never miss anything. So I think that's it. I may have missed something, but
what he said.
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. I can't say it enough how excited I am for you guys, to see you guys, literally from the time that you guys started to where you are now, and where you're going. It's just awesome to see. Glad you guys are friends of the program, and yeah, I'm excited to see where you guys can continue to go. And like, listen, as Matthias says in the chat, says best draft content. As I always say, the 3 Fs. It's free, it's fun, it's freaking informative. Go subscribe to No Ceilings now and listen to them anywhere that you could throw a rock and find their content. So with that being said, hope everybody has a great night. God bless. The Thunder are up like 15 points at halftime, by the way.
Shocker.
So that's,
Hey, we get it. Okay.
Who would have
awesome.
thought?
Oh,
Wait,
wow,
are the Thunder
shocker.
good this year, guys?
I did say I'd be done with the self-serving, but y'all have a great night. God bless. Hoop when you can. And as always, Thunder up.